Hey guys, JR Wise here, Journey of Weight Loss, checking in with you. Just hit 7 miles. I'm probably going to cut out at 8. It's just a little too muggy to keep going. Might have to make up the other 2 this evening. So, told you guys earlier I was going to do a follow-up video about the family that lost their home to a house fire because the dog mistakenly turned the toaster oven on and it caught fire, unfortunately. There's not much really to follow up with, but I just want to encourage everybody to take a look at the news article, and if it strikes you, donate something to the GoFundMe. They're looking to raise $350,000. I think they currently have like 20, but keep in mind they've lost everything, and insurance doesn't immediately pay out. It takes time. We've all been there before, where insurance doesn't cover the cost of everything that you've lost. So, and they lost 2 cats and a dog. Those are irreplaceable. So just take a look at the article. I just want to bring some attention to it. So I'll put the GoFundMe link in the comments and the original Yahoo News article in there too. So all right guys, the first topic I want to talk to you guys about, it's another situation with the police, and this one isn't like bad per se, but it's kind of alarming because it has to do with this 59-year-old lady who was walking from her apartment complex, I believe, to this grocery store, and it was a route she takes weekly because she doesn't have a car, so she walks to get her food and her groceries down this route and then comes home that route. And a couple weeks prior, she had noticed that a house had become vacant. They had moved out and they had left a box of goodies outside for free for anybody to take. And the next day it started raining, so she wasn't able to get by there. So she stopped by back on the following week on her route to the grocery store, and the box was gone. Well, then she started thinking, oh, hey, this house is going to go up for rent. I have dogs. I might want to see how big the backyard is, for when it comes on the market. I might be interested in getting it. So she goes to walk in the backyard, which is like a little sidewalk, and you would think that you wouldn't think that would be private property. It's a sidewalk, but it was. And one of the neighbors was keeping an eye on the place for the homeowner. And she got back halfway and was poking around to see. And the lady came outside, hey, it's private property. You need to move on. So lady, yes ma'am, sorry, have a nice day. So the old lady goes to the grocery store and she's coming back by. Well, the people that had spoken to her had actually called the cops. And the 2 cops were there and they said, oh, that's the lady that tried to break into the property. Well, they go over and they start talking to this little lady. She's 90 pounds, keep in mind, small, tiny little old lady. Couldn't hurt a fly. And she explains why she went back, where she did, and they tell her, hey, that's trespassing. Well, she gets kind of, I wouldn't say amped up, but she got excited. And she's like, look, I have this disorder, that disorder, because they kept asking her, why are you yelling at us? Why are you yelling at us? She's like, I have PTSD from this, and I have anxiety. And you could tell she was getting very upset over the entire situation. It was unintentional, and there was no harm intended. Well, they just tell her, okay, at this moment you're being detained, and they immediately slap cuffs on her. And she had not, other than raising her voice a little bit, she had not done anything that could have been considered aggressive or give it justification to put her in cuffs. So at the end of the day, they let her go. But they told her, you're trespassing and this and that. And our job is to enforce, the property owner laws and stuff like that. And I understand that. And so did she. But the whole point of me bringing this up is there was no reason to put her in cuffs other than to escalate the situation. And there was no reason for that. And I doubt anything will come out from this situation, but they wanted to show their hand to this lady, and they accomplished that by throwing her in cuffs, and there was no reason to. And hopefully, the right people see this and review it, and you can find this on Witness the Badge. That's where I saw it from. And I don't think I'm not explaining it 100% right. I wish I had better terms coming to mind. So go check out that channel and just watch the videos and let me know what you think. So the other one I wanted to talk about, it happened in Superior, Wisconsin. And this kid by the name of Cypress, I think his name was delivering DoorDash, and he was having trouble following the GPS. And he made a left turn down what he found out later was a one-way street. He didn't realize it was. He missed the sign because he was trying to pay attention to the GPS and find this house. And next thing you know, he had red and blue lights behind him. He immediately pulled over. And he goes to get his registration and paperwork out of the glove box, and the police officer that was behind that initiated the stop saw him lean over and automatically said, "Oh, that was suspicious movements." It's called like furtive movements or something. I can't say that right. And it alarmed him, so he immediately called for backup, and additional 3 cops, I believe, showed up, and they all exit the vehicles and draw their weapons on this poor kid. And he had no clue what was going on. So they ask him to exit the vehicle, put your hands on your head, turn around, walk backwards to us. And he's complying with all their orders. And he gets about, 10 feet from them, and they start yelling, and they're yelling different stuff at him at the same time, which is kind of ridiculous if you ask me. So he didn't know what to do. He's got one guy telling him to get down on his knees, and he's got another one telling him to get down on his left knee, and he's got another one saying comply now or we're going to tase you. And he didn't know what was going on. He was actually saying, like, what are all these lasers on me? And he never made an attempt to turn towards the cops and face them, but he did move his head to the left slightly to say, what is going on? What did I do? And the female cop yelled, do what we say or we're going to tase you. And seconds later, literally seconds later, maybe 2 seconds later, after she made that announcement, she nailed him with that taser. And he went down like a sack of potatoes. So this poor kid had no idea what hit him. He had no idea what was going on. And it was disgraceful to see what they did to him. So the cops, they put him in handcuffs, put him in the car, and they're talking amongst them. Well, first they thought somebody else may have been in the car because the kid had a hoodie in the back window, covering the back windows because he had been in there, making out with his girlfriend or something earlier that night, and just forgot to take it down. So they did like a felony stop on this empty car, which, hey, I get, they're cops, they have to come home safely, so they're going to take every measure necessary to ensure that. But when I say these guys were a disaster from the minute they pulled him over, I mean it. They were an absolute disaster. It was just laughable, So I know they have a tough job, but you got to see the video. And if you want to, you can go watch this on America's Attorney. He's got a very good breakdown of it. So go check him out too. So they finally regroup and they're talking amongst themselves, and they say, hey, he didn't do anything wrong, but we have to charge him because we used force on him, right? I was always told if we use force on a suspect, we have to charge them. And one of the other cops said, no, that's not the case. You don't have to do that. You just fill out a use of force and you cut him loose. You don't have to charge him with anything. So what do? They charge him with resisting. He never resisted once. He complied 100% of the way, except for those final seconds when he was trying to figure out what was going on. When they told him to get down on one knee, he simply said, wait, what did I do wrong? And bam! It was literally 2 to 3 seconds of non-compliance, and they tase him. So they take him back to the station. They charge him with resisting and going down a one-way street, whatever that citation is. And the resisting actually went to trial, and they found not guilty for that. And I don't know what happened with the other citation. I believe it was thrown out, but I'm not confident on that. So long story short, Cypress, whatever his name is, has filed a civil lawsuit against them for numerous things, which, unjustified use of force, civil rights violations, quite a few things. And it went before the judge, and the police tried to do like a summary judgment thing, and so did Cypress, and they ruled in Cypress's favor on the summary judgment on like the use of force and something else. And the judge, the police obviously tried to say, oh, we get qualified immunity for this, blah, 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 blah. And the judge said, absolutely not. So it's nice to hear that the judicial system is actually looking through these cases with a fine-tooth comb and ruling in favor of people who have had, unjustifiable things happen to them. And, it's not just like the good old boy system anymore. So that's great to see. But at the same time, these things shouldn't be happening. These guys are just, I really think the solution to a vast majority of these situations happening could be solved with regular training, and the police not getting their certification until after a year of training for that. And I know a lot of people don't believe me, but I mean, you see these crazy things happening to these poor innocent citizens every day of the week, and 9 out of 10 times you can chalk it up to not having sufficient training. So anyways, let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please, please, please do not forget to check out the article in the GoFundMe for the family that lost their home due to the house fire. So there is one more thing I want to talk about, and it's I believe it's happening in Mansfield, Ohio. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with the cops out there, and most recently, this poor guy got the snot beat out of him by a cop, and you can find it on Southern Draw Law. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but this cop beat the snot out of this poor guy that was a passenger in a vehicle that had gotten pulled over. And the chief of police did a TV interview with a news station, and he made this. He said on the news statement, "I have not watched the video, but I have read the report that my officer provided, and what he said is the truth, and I didn't watch the video to keep my integrity." And I'm like, wait a second. You're going to take a written report by somebody over your own eyes and what you can see on camera? That doesn't make any sense. That is just ignorance at its finest. I mean, people make mistakes every day of the week, and 9 out of 10 times, unfortunately, people, when they make mistakes and their job is in jeopardy, they're gonna lie. No matter how much you trust them, you need to verify for yourself. And I can't believe the chief of police is gonna make a statement to the entire country like that. It just, come on. I mean, come on. I'm gonna trust what my officer wrote down on a report over what I can see for my own two eyes can see, or I can see for myself. There, I finally got it out. So anyhow, I hate to keep doing all these videos about the police and stuff, but it keeps popping up on my YouTube feed because I watched a few of them on several different stations, and they interest me. And I've told you guys before, I am not anti-police, but I am pro-accountability, and I really want to see accountability start occurring, across the country. And I've got a lot of different comments over the last couple of weeks, and some of them good, some of them bad. I don't quite agree with, but long story short, I've never had an incident like I'm describing in my videos, But I did have a run-in years ago when I was a teenager with a police officer, state trooper, that had pulled me over for speeding. And he yanked me out of the car, slapped me in handcuffs, all because I made a comment to him. And I didn't even mean it in a disrespectful way. It was just how he took it. And next thing you know, I'm sitting on the ground in handcuffs, and he's going through my car. And long story short, nothing happened. I took the ticket to court, and I had to do like I had to pay court fees or something. The ticket got tossed out, and I just paid court fees. I believe that's what happened. It's hard to remember. So anyhow, let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care. Bye.